Hello again, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. This is Jaco again here, just talking about the current state of my Bionicle comic collection here for us. Now, in the last video, I didn't really, mention, you know, a whole lot. And I'm just because I'm trying to make each video as short as possible there for us. But I did go ahead and hint that this was going to try to cover the entire Bohrok Saga here for us. Now, as you can tell here, this is a much more complete collection there. Honestly, like I was trying to tell you guys how we started and ended the last time a bit. Probably my brother and I started getting comics as soon as number 8 for us. That's these copies here. Well, if you guys can see that, I'm sorry, I haven't figured out the glare issue since the last video, so not exactly the YouTuber of sorts, just making a public inventory of my comic book collection. I guess, that's the best description I can give for these kinds of, or these videos that I'll be releasing here right now. Anyone's available to it, or if anyone wants to talk about it, I'm always here. So I spend more time on YouTube than I do most things. Anyways, went off on a tangent there for us. But going off again on the friend that my brother and I had, again, is mostly my brother's friend. Them growing up, they still talk and everything. But we weren't getting these earlier comics in the series just because we were unaware of kind of how to grab them, or we were aware, just wasn't really a whole lot we could do. As it was, I know there was like a lot of online flash games and everything like that. All of us know that. What happened to the towel here? Anyways, our parents weren't ones to let my brother and I really go on the internet. One, unsupervised, and two, without good reason. Good reason was school. So if we were telling them we were going to go on to play a game or something, they were like, no. Okay, you go find something else to do, or you have a PlayStation, right? But yeah, before number 8, my comic collection was looking pretty bare up until about 2008 or so when I did purchase these four from that friend again. Again, you can tell that these have been really abused along the spine. When I take them out of the covers, I'm sure you're going to see more of the crinkliness of like the other one there for us. But because we were kids, and we didn't want to sit these and look at them. We wanted to actually, read them, learn about our heroes. Now, of course, this is like some of the first appearances of like the gold Kanoki mask there for us. And these are the older ones, but these guys I did get recently to go ahead and replace some of the older inventory that I have here for us. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get these guys out of the way. I will bag and do these a little bit later on, or at least off the camera there for us. So I don't have to bore you guys with that process, because one thing I am learning off camera is that bagging and boarding with the use of cotton gloves, what I'm wearing here, is extremely difficult, kind of painstaking. I'll show a little bit of an example of that just because, it's hard to get a good grip on anything, especially something like the book itself. Now, this one I purchased just recently, in fact, and it was sitting inside its original container until now. So I went ahead and pulled it out for the sake of the video. And again, you see more of the gold Kanoki as we went around. Now, the Bohrok are probably one of my brother's favorite enemies as far as what the Toe have ever had to face. And I agree with him. They're very cool. In fact, I like all the enemies. I was as a kid, I always grew up with like, oh yeah, the bad guys. They're so cool. But it didn't mean I ever wanted my heroes to lose. I love these guys. But I did have a very keen interest in all of that. Now, obviously the Bohrok are a fan favorite of everyone because these were the best sellers. I think of Lego that year. Like it outsold pretty much anything, from my understanding. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm pretty sure it is though. But I'm gonna go ahead and at least bag this one on camera. I have a few preset ones here for us. Now, again, the cotton gloves don't really stick well to this polyurethane or nylon there, so I just kind of drag it in, drop it in. Now the hard part is taking off these little seals with the cotton gloves, so that way they can become resealable. That part I probably will do off camera. I'm going to get all these, see what I mean? Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyways, they're all going to look like this when we get back here for us. Now, the Bohrok Saga is fantastic. Of course, in the first couple, the Beware the Bohrok, Into the Nest, these are just some of the originals coming in here. But, that's where we learn, like, people like Leiwa, or Toa, can get infected by these guys. The Krana is a very powerful weapon of the Bohrok and the Queens of the Swarm, and it could even bring our Toa to their knees, at least until they finally prove themselves worthy of the name. Now I'm going to get these guys bagged, at least the newer ones maybe, but you can tell here the number 5 is not here as a new one. The only one I have of that one is the old one I got from our friend there. So I am going to put a little yellow sticky. I mentioned in the last video that for any that I am trying to kind of, or I need newer copies of something, fine or, very good, whatever, fair. I want to get something better than, those mangled spines there for us, because at the end of the day, what I could do is keep some of these on display, and the copies that are already like shattered beyond belief from use as from us being children and things like that, just read. I mean, I have the paper cuts and the books, the adventures and chronicles and things like that. But it's always fun to open a comic book, and I think people who collect them know that. And just the smell of them sometimes, whether fresh or extremely old, is part of the experience. You really want to get into all of that. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and bag and board these off of the camera. You're going to see them all bagged when you get back. And then we'll go ahead and talk about these comics a little bit more for us. 1 second. All right, back again here and bagged and boarded, and I still can't get that glare fixed for us. So I do apologize for that. I'm just kind of holding up my arm here to see what I can do. Again, I'm not doing this professionally or nothing. Maybe if for some reason this takes off, which I doubt, I could spend a little bit more resources on that for us. But let me go ahead and get a quick, rundown on all of these there for us. Again, like my brother and I were able to read some of these earlier ones on account of, just his friend being around to help out. That's what friends do, right? With the original 4th here, this one here, which actually features Tahu, and I know it's hard to view still, but it it features Tahu here, being taken over by Krana. It's bringing up that tension. Look at this Tana Cal, or just Tanak, acting all victorious. He has his golden Kanohi right here. Sorry that, that's very hard to see there for us. And, it just continues to go on forward. We go into the nest. We have the arrival of the Exotoa for us. And then we have these other guys right here, which are really the big two for me, because this, the arrival of the Toa Nuva, is exactly, I think, where my brother and I were finally able to get a hold of our own copies. Which was great. That this is where everything started for us, at least in the collection. For me, this was my first issue there, and easily this is the copy I actually have the most of. This issue at 4, I have a couple of foils. I have a couple of regulars like this one here. This one just features the regular. I figured probably not a good idea to pull the foils out if glare is already like a substantial issue here for me. But, just so you have a look here, the original, or the first time the Toa Nuva are featured on a cover there for us. And, we all know the story. They make it out of the Swarm's nest. They defeat Kotick and Goddick, and bam, our heroes are victorious once again. No future threats that are foreseeable right now, except their own, themselves. And that's where this comic comes in. Divided we fall. Now, even as a kid, this particular one was my favorite. In fact, it still is a favorite of mine amongst all the comics that are there for us. Um, this one is just beautiful in terms of story, or I don't know what grabbed me so much about it, especially as a kid, because you could arguably say that as far as the Bohrok Saga is concerned, this may be the most boring for a kid. Nothing really happens except the Toa are fighting at the start of it. They're exercising their powers to find out what they are capable of, so they can meet any of the threats in the future there for us. I think probably what really grabs me in this one, and I believe it's in Divided We Fall, is when Kopaka is like skiing down the slopes of Mount Ihu or whatever, and he's just contemplating to himself if splitting up the Towa team was uh, really the best thing to do for the people of Mata Nui. Um, the Matoran, of course, and would they be able to meet any threat should it come? I still always joke about it with my brother sometimes because there's a line Kopaka says, "Is this the peace before the avalanche?" Which is like a play of calm before the storm. And I still never say the calm before the storm. I always say the peace before the avalanche, just because Kopaka Nuva said it, and it was just like the coolest thing for me at the time. I was like, yeah, this guy gets it, even though he clashes with Tahu a lot. At least in this stage of things, he gets it. I was really worried. Maybe that's why this one was my favorite. I was like, ah man, the last of the Bohrok Saga that we get into late. Maybe there's going to be no more Bionicle anymore after this. Makuta's defeated. Oh no, it's over, right? But just wanted to share that little story there for you. Each of these comics do have a little story. Like when we got the foils on this one on 8, oh man, it was fantastic. I really loved that this was kind of what introduced me there to everything as far as the collection standpoint goes there for us. Versus like anything else that we had here. Like you can see Kotick and Gotik just hanging out in this one here for us very quickly. Um, Very beautiful sets. One day I hope to get my hands on the Balrog Queens. Sorry, but um, you know, um, very good stuff. Yeah, the Golden Kanokis were always a good touch, especially in the earlier comics here for us. And just to get you guys a better view of that again, that's what we're looking at there. Actually, that kind of gets rid of the glare a bit, huh? If I just like hold it at a different angle for you guys, how to keep that in mind for the future, so you guys can go ahead and get a better view of this for me. This is also for reference of myself. Again, this is a public inventory for everything. And if you're actually sticking around till this second video, fantastic. I don't see why anyone would want to, watch me ramble on about my collection, but one of the beautiful things there for us, I guess. So yeah, if anyone actually is watching these when they are coming out, thanks. Kind of making them all at once here. I'm sure they're not going to be out all at once. So it'll be a surprise for me, if anything. But I guess that's really all I have here for us, except that, the Bohrok, really cool. The Queens, really cool. The Toa Nuva, really cool. This saga was just loaded with really cool things. And the climax here at Divided We Fall, excuse me, like I said, just one of the best things for my childhood me, I guess. I was like, hey, this is going somewhere, I hope, and I had no idea otherwise. But I'll go ahead and end the video here then. There's still a lot more bagging and boarding I got to do off camera there for us, which again, like I said, are terrible to do inside these cotton gloves. I'm not even sure if the cotton gloves are necessary, at least to me, handling these gems, which that's kind of what they are to me, little gems. It's the least amount of care that could go in, at least with the newer models there for us. Now, I guess one more thing to mention is that this number 5 comic, this is not terrible condition on spine or just things like that, but that one's going to get a gold sticky note. We're going to make sure we do get a different, newer copy of this one before, the world ends or something, But after that, I guess that's everything I have. You guys have a good one now. Take care.